The little girl tugged her father's worn sleeve and whispered something that made him freeze completely. "Dad! I want her as my mom," she said softly, pointing toward a stranger across the street. At first he thought he misunderstood, because his daughter rarely spoke about mothers anymore. For years it had only been the two of them, surviving quietly in a small town. He followed her gaze and saw a woman standing near the bakery window. She looked elegant, calm, and completely out of place in their dusty neighborhood. The father's heart skipped nervously, unsure why this moment suddenly felt so important. Sometimes life changes in the smallest seconds, when nobody expects anything extraordinary. And that quiet afternoon was about to become the beginning of something unforgettable. But to understand why that whisper mattered so much, you need to know their story. The man's name was Daniel, a hard-working single father doing everything possible for his daughter. Every morning before sunrise he drove his old pickup truck to construction sites across town. His hands were rough, his boots always dusty, but his heart stayed gentle. At home waited his daughter Lily, the brightest light in his difficult life. She was only 6 years old but carried surprising kindness in her small heart. Lily often helped cook simple dinners while Daniel returned home exhausted every evening. They didn't have much money, but laughter filled their small rented house anyway. Sometimes they danced in the kitchen while noodles boiled on the old stove. Other nights they watched the sunset together from the creaky wooden porch. For Daniel, those simple moments made every hard day completely worth it. But life had not always been this quiet for them. Years earlier, Lily's mother had walked away without a single goodbye. Daniel still remembered Lily crying that night, asking questions he couldn't answer. From that moment forward he promised himself he would never fail his daughter again. He worked longer hours, accepted harder jobs, and sacrificed everything for her happiness. Some nights exhaustion nearly broke him, but Lily's smile always restored his strength. Still, deep down Daniel feared he could never truly replace the love of a mother. He tried to hide that worry, believing Lily deserved a carefree childhood. But children sometimes see the missing pieces. A quiet afternoon in town proved Lily had noticed far more than he realized. They had walked to the market that day to buy bread and fruit. The town square buzzed softly. "What are you looking at?" he asked gently, following her gaze slowly. That was when Lily whispered the words that completely shocked him. "Dad! I want her as my mom," she murmured, pointing quietly toward a stranger. Daniel blinked in confusion, wondering why his daughter would say something like that. Then he finally saw the woman Lily had been watching so carefully. She stood beside the bakery window studying a tray of fresh pastries. Sunlight fell gently across her face, highlighting kind eyes and a thoughtful smile. Her long coat looked expensive, something rarely seen in their modest neighborhood. Yet there was a softness about her, something calm and welcoming. Daniel quickly looked away, embarrassed by the idea forming in his daughter's mind. "Lily, sweetheart, we can't just choose people like that," he said awkwardly. But Lily shook her head with innocent certainty only children possess naturally. "She looks kind, Dad." "I think she'd love us," Lily whispered again hopefully. Daniel felt his chest tighten, unsure how to respond without hurting her feelings. Before he could answer, something unexpected happened that changed everything. The woman turned slightly and noticed Lily staring at her from across the street. Instead of looking uncomfortable, she smiled warmly and waved at the little girl. Lily immediately waved back, her eyes shining with excitement and curiosity. Daniel felt strangely nervous, like fate had suddenly placed him inside a story. "Come on, Lily, we should go," he muttered, trying to avoid the situation. But Lily tugged his hand firmly, refusing to walk away so quickly. "Dad, please?" "Just say hello," she insisted with determined innocence. Daniel hesitated, glancing once more at the woman near the bakery door. She still smiled gently, as if patiently waiting without saying a single word. Something about that quiet patience made Daniel finally take a deep breath. He slowly walked across the street with Lily holding his hand tightly. The woman greeted them with a friendly voice that felt immediately comforting. "Hello there, I noticed your daughter waving at me," she said warmly. Daniel scratched the back of his neck, feeling strangely shy around this stranger. My daughter sometimes says surprising things, he admitted with a nervous chuckle. Lily looked up proudly and spoke before Daniel could stop her. I told Dad I want you to be my mom, she announced honestly. Daniel nearly dropped the grocery bags in pure embarrassment at that moment. But instead of reacting awkwardly, the woman's expression softened with quiet emotion. She knelt gently to Lily's height and spoke with surprising kindness. That is a very big compliment, she told Lily with a gentle smile. My name is Emma, and I'm very happy to meet you today. Lily giggled happily, clearly pleased by the friendly response she received. Daniel finally relaxed slightly, realizing Emma seemed kind and understanding. They talked for a few minutes beside the bakery as afternoon traffic passed quietly. Emma explained she had recently moved to town for work and knew nobody yet. Daniel mentioned his construction job and raising Lily alone these past years. Something about the conversation flowed naturally, like old friends unexpectedly reconnecting. Even Daniel noticed the strange comfort settling gently between them all. And Lily watched them both with the satisfied smile of someone witnessing destiny. Over the next few weeks their paths began crossing again and again. Sometimes Emma visited the same bakery when Daniel stopped by after work. Other days they met in the park where Lily loved playing after school. Each conversation grew longer, warmer, and filled with easy laughter. Daniel discovered Emma worked as a school counselor helping struggling children. Her compassion suddenly made perfect sense considering Lily's instant trust. Lily adored Emma's stories and often held her hand while walking. Daniel watched quietly, realizing his daughter seemed happier than he had seen before. Still he guarded his heart carefully, afraid hope might lead to disappointment again. But sometimes life rewards courage when we least expect second chances. One evening Emma joined them for dinner at their small home. Lily proudly helped cook spaghetti while Daniel nervously prepared the table. Daniel noted, the house felt brighter somehow, filled with laughter and warm conversation. Emma admired Lily's drawings hanging proudly across the living room walls. Daniel noticed how naturally Emma fit into their simple. After dinner they sat on the porch watching the orange sun. He helped Lily with homework and attended school events proudly beside Daniel. Neighbors often smiled seeing the three of them walking together through town. Daniel eventually realized he wasn't afraid of loving again anymore. Emma brought peace into their lives, something he never expected to feel again. One quiet evening Daniel finally gathered courage to speak honestly with Emma. He told her about his fears, his past, and his hopes for Lily. Emma listened quietly before gently taking his hand under the evening sky. Her answer changed their lives forever in the most beautiful way. I care about both of you more than you realize, Emma said softly. I didn't come to this town expecting to find a family. Daniel felt emotion rise in his chest hearing those simple heartfelt words. Lily ran onto the porch suddenly, interrupting their serious conversation happily. She looked between them with bright eyes full of hopeful curiosity. So, are you going to marry my dad? She asked boldly. Daniel and Emma both laughed, surprised by Lily's fearless honesty again. Emma knelt down and hugged Lily warmly before answering her question. Well, sweetheart, maybe someday that could happen, she said with a smile. Lily cheered happily, already believing her wish had come true. A year later the small town gathered for a simple wedding ceremony. Daniel stood nervously beside Emma while Lily held flowers proudly between them. Friends and neighbors smiled warmly, celebrating the family that destiny created. When the vows ended, Lily hugged Emma tightly with tears of joy. Now you're really my mom, she whispered happily during the celebration. Daniel realized that one small whisper months earlier changed everything forever. Sometimes children see love long before adults dare believe in it. Their journey began with innocence, courage, and a little girl's hopeful heart. And now their home was filled with laughter, warmth, and a complete family. Life truly works in mysterious ways when hearts remain open to unexpected blessings. And if this story touched your heart even a little today, remember something important. Sometimes the smallest words can change lives in the most beautiful ways. If you enjoyed this emotional story, make sure to subscribe for more powerful stories. Don't forget to like the video's inspiring moments. And most importantly, share your thoughts in the comments about this unforgettable moment. Would you have walked across the street like Daniel did that day? Or would you have been too nervous to follow such awful ways? If you enjoyed this emotional story, make sure to subscribe for more powerful stories.